Hello and welcome everyone to the next episode of the Castles, Cantrips and Conniptions podcast. My name is Evan.
And I'm Edward.
And there has been some developments in a lot of things. First and foremost, happy Elden Ring Day.
Happy Elden Ring Day, Souls fans and other fans and people.
Yeah, I am so incredibly hyped. We record this episode in advance, as you probably can tell from the last few episodes. But at this moment, I will probably be playing Elden Ring all throughout the night and the next day and the morning after next day.
And for the coming 16 years, I will never see him again.
And you'll never hear from me again. No, but I'm just super excited to play it. It's one of these games that comes around every few years that just captivates you entirely. And since we know, like, From Software, the developers, knows what they're doing, and they create such a beautiful world with interesting characters, incredible enemies and bosses, great music, but especially the way the stories are told. It's just so unique and
quite passively, right? That's always. I've never been that big on like Souls games, but I played Dark Souls 3, and it completely blew me away how they can tell so much story without saying actual words, just by showing things. And Dark Souls games, from what I can tell, just Souls games in general, are the perfect example of show don't tell in video games.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's so much environmental storytelling. Like, everything has its purpose. Every tree, every flower, every bit of ornamentation.
It's almost like a Tolkien work.
Yeah, almost. Spoilers for the remainder of the episode. But it's just the fantastical world that they create is just so unique. You don't really see other games pull it off as well as they do, and it shows in its popularity, of course. Like, Elden Ring has already received like 8 awards, and it's not even out yet.
It's not even out. Okay, that's interesting.
It received the most anticipated game at the Game Awards, which is like the Oscars for the gaming industry. 2 years in a row they won this award.
Okay, I thought it was Cyberpunk first.
No, it was Elden Ring twice.
Haha, get fucked, CD Projekt Red.
But this game is going to be incredible. I played a bit already. There was this network test where they test the capacity of their servers for online play, and you could play total of 15 hours, where they just test.
Of course, did I assume?
Yeah, you had to sign up, so not everyone would be chosen. But since I had a PS5 and no one else has a PS5, there was quite a likelihood of being chosen to participate for PS5 users. So I was quite lucky.
Yeah, how many slots were there, or how big was the chance you get in?
I don't think they publicly released this information, although don't quote me here. I think they did so for the Japan region, which was like, I'm not sure, let's see if I can look it up, but it was only like a few hundred places or something. Maybe 1,000.
I think maybe there's I'm not sure, but maybe we're playing on like the European servers, so I think that'd be larger, like more spots on the European servers than the Japanese servers. Don't know if I'm underestimating the Japanese servers right now, but just a guess.
Yeah, I'm looking for it, but I can't find anything specific. I do remember something was published for some region, how many slots it were, but no, I think at least a lot more people signed up than were able to participate.
Okay.
I was one of the lucky few.
Huzzah.
So, and it was already like incredible. It was only a small area, like a tenth of the map, and it already cost me 15 hours to see
Properly
and do
explore
everything, properly
Yeah.
explore it. So it's just, super excited.
Yeah.
So you have only played Dark Souls 3.
That is correct.
Did you complete it in the end?
Nope, not yet. I have to be honest. I have not completed it yet. Not because I don't enjoy it, but like it's a real
Time-wise.
commitment to sit
is.
down and play. You can't just save and hop off and hop on whenever you want. And with my latest Warhammer obsession, I have not had much time to play video games. I've mostly been writing, making maps as usual, and then painting minis on the side.
Yeah, it's definitely a big investment for because it's an RPG, right?
Yeah,
So you
and
need to
it's
stay
like
updated
it's not
with the mechanics and
just an
stuff.
RPG. It's like Skyrim is an RPG, and you can just save and leave whenever you want, and then play again. But like Dark Souls, it's like, oh, well, I have to get to the next area to properly progress, and I have to beat these bosses, which may take like an entire day if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm having a good one and I beat them in one go. Haha. Pretty sure there's like 3 bosses I beat first try on my first run of the game ever. It was the Boreal Valley thing.
Yeah, Fort.
It was the sort of witch thing at the end of the swamp. It was like this witch.
Yeah, I think it's Crystal Sages. Crystal Sage.
And I pretty much dunked on the Dance of the Boreal Valley 3rd try with way too weak equipment.
Right.
So yeah.
So did you beat her, or did you just?
No,
give
no,
up?
because you were like, no, don't beat her yet, because
Right.
I haven't finished the story, so I left, even though
Oh, right.
next time I'll return with big ass maxed out loot and my insane stats. I'm like level 56 or something. And yeah, you and the other friend who I played Dark Souls with, you're like, well, we maxed him out a little too much. Now he's just walking over everything.
Yeah, it's quite easy to get quite powerful in every Dark Souls game, especially after you've played it a few times. There's just certain builds that become overpowered quickly. As for Dark Souls 3, I think it's the most balanced, at least.
I just use armor and heavy armor and like a claymore and a shield, and it's working real well. So
yeah, shields.
+3 thing.
Shields are in the beginning quite useful, quite reliable, and it's like a safety for yourself. But after a while, you just want damage, just doing as much damage as possible.
Yeah, quickly get fights done.
Yeah. So a shield is not the best option in that regard, and it becomes more of dodging. But like the game shows you, or at least expects you to learn these things. Keep you learning. Keep you trying new stuff. So that's what.
Yeah, I've just been using the shield for like the mini enemies, like to use my shield and stuff against their ranged attacks, because it's like the archers and stuff like that, you can block their attacks pretty well. The attack dogs in the forest bit. Yeah, I don't remember much of it as in like the names, but I do remember what I played. It's like the forest, you have these undead hounds and they attack you, you can block them with a shield. And I like going around that graveyard where there's like these zombies who constantly respawn and just backstabbing them constantly.
Yeah, Cathedral of the Deep. That's an interesting one. Really cool as well. Like huge cathedral with plenty of rooms and rafters to walk around.
Explore.
Explore, yeah. Yeah, Dark Souls 3. You should really finish it at some point.
I should. I know.
It's
I will,
incredible.
but maybe like the summer vacation or something. I'll
It's
finish
definitely
it.
for a fantasy fan. It's like one of these games that you just have to play and experience because there's so much originality in them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've not seen, I think, a single thing in that game that I've seen in other games or in other fantasy media.
Yeah, they do some really, like I said before, unique stuff, while still sticking to that classical fantasy aspect. But still twist it around in such a way to keep it fresh and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, make it kind of darker as well.
Quite darker, especially Bloodborne, which is really depressing. Also, maybe this is spoilers, but like nearly every character in the Dark Souls series has a tragic either backstory or tragic end.
Solaire.
I
know Solaire's like death, a horrible, big sad, and then like Sieg, what was his name again? Siegward? The onion dude.
Yeah, I think it's Sieg Meyer in the first game and Siegward in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, Sieg Meyer, he's like, his daughter was ill, right? And he's traveling to find a cure for her.
Yeah, and when he arrives in Ash Lake, I'm not sure if he went hollow and his daughter killed him because she chased after him because she didn't want her father to go on this adventure for her sake. So really sad.
R.I.P. Rip the Sieg, daddy.
Yeah, but to summarize, From Software does some amazing stuff, and Elden Ring is going to be the biggest project to date. And I haven't seen such a hyped game since Cyberpunk.
Well, I hope that doesn't show us the future. Let's hope we escape that fate, but I don't believe it's gonna be like that at all. I have high expectations for it.
Yeah,
which is rare. Me being a pretty cynic, having a pretty pessimistic look on like stuff coming out. I'm like always like, nah, it's gonna be crap, and then I play it like, oh, this is awesome. But I am honestly excited and expecting Elden Ring to be good.
Yeah, just be careful. Like your entire YouTube and Twitch feed will be filled with Elden Ring today. And
I'm sure
for the entire weekend. So it's just going to be Elden Ring videos on your front page, and your entire Twitch following list will be seeing Elden Ring underneath everyone's name.
Of course.
That's going to be quite funny.
I think we should maybe play it on the on this channel. It would be funny.
Maybe at some point.
Yeah, we could.
Could be fun. Because it is sort of multiplayer. At least they also have made it more accessible to co-op.
Okay, so you don't have to use
single player.
Okay, you don't have to use the what was it again? The blood. The Amber Hearts, I think, was it?
Do you mean soapstones?
Yeah, you had like the soapstones, and you had the thing that the Amber Shards or something. Embers, the stuff that allowed you to go online and gave you extra health.
Yeah.
3.
You had to be in embered form by consuming an ember to be able to play online.
Yeah, that was.
I think they have indeed made it more accessible. They've also made it so you can't be invaded when you're playing single player.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, that's quite nice. It may be a bit sad because you want to sometimes be invaded when playing single player for that extra immersion or extra community participation. But I think there's even an item in the game that allows invaders to invade your world even if you're playing single player, but you will have to activate something for
okay. Well, it's nice that they do give you the option.
Yeah.
So it's something for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's open world, so it's something new they're trying. But as far as I've seen, it's like the old school Zelda feeling of exploration and cave delving and discovering side quest lines, just in the open, really.
Okay,
so
sounds good.
You don't know you're doing a huge side quest until it's finished, really. You just find something in the world, and that will lead on to a domino effect onto other missions and stuff.
Okay.
So really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
And
I haven't followed the whole like development and stuff, and like trailers. I haven't really followed that because I like Souls games, but they're not my favorite. If you know what I mean. But what you're saying, sounds really good. Really excited. So yeah, I hope I can play it on the like platforms I own, because I don't own a PS5, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've also got plenty of inspiration from the Souls games for D&D Adventures.
Of course.
You've all played some of them already. I don't think I've mentioned that I took the inspiration from Dark Souls, but there's definitely a few that I can remember that I had you play in, which were vaguely some elements inspired by the Dark Souls games.
Could you give me an example so I know?
Yeah, sure. So, do you remember in the big city, in the large campaign where you started off in
the
this
homebrew campaign?
Yeah, my homebrew campaign.
Was it the Kelstrom Tunnel, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So then you moved on to this big city.
Thornville City. Haha, I remember your lore, Evan.
Yeah, better than myself. And you had to rescue there was something with the prince.
Oh yeah, the prince was being held hostage, I think, by like an angel, a fallen angel or something.
Yeah, by like a sort of a cult, which worshipped this angel type character, and there was like this attempt at kidnapping the young prince of this city, and you fought your way up to his tower, got to his bedchambers, and there was a hole in the wall, and the prince was being taken away by this by this angel.
So that was in like the beginning of the campaign, right? We moved on to like Tilverton afterwards with the drow pouring into the city.
Yeah, this was definitely early on. Not sure if it was the second session, could have been.
Yeah, Kelstrom Tunnel was the first one. Then we headed to Thornville City to report what happened. Then we saw a demon there, and then we noticed all the angel stuff.
Yeah, and there was this sort of FBI agency.
Yeah.
Like investigating all these.
The Inquisition.
Rumors. The Inquisition. What did they call it again? It was pretty cool.
I don't actually remember that part. I do remember it was that session when one of the players who was playing our ranger shot me by accident because he rolled a natural 1, and I was playing my fighter, and then I got shot by his arrow. I think it took me down to like 3 HP as well. That was like a running gag throughout the campaign. Like, oh, is your character gonna shoot me again, or is it gonna be useful? That was a fun campaign, though. It really was. I love homebrew campaign. Yeah, it is still going, but like when we played it, it was real fun.
Yeah. But anyway, the inspiration that I took from Dark Souls 3 specifically is that this prince, I think I made his name Lorien, or at least something similar, and that's literally a royal prince-like character in Dark Souls 3. It's one of the bosses, and the angel symbolism is also really prevalent in this area of Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
So that's where I took the inspiration from.
Yeah, I mean that's totally fine. We spoke about inspiration for D&D and writing and stuff last episode, I believe, or the episode before that.
Yeah,
and,
one of them.
If you can get your inspiration from somewhere, do it. It's it always helps
Perfectly
with the creative
fine.
process. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure how much else we can really talk about like Elden Ring, because it's not really out yet.
Yeah.
For us right now, but it is once this episode goes
if
up.
they can give it 8 awards, then we can talk about it for an hour, even though it's not out yet.
Yeah, I can talk about From Software and the Souls games for plenty of time, but since you're not too familiar with all of the games, it's a bit more difficult and not as fun for you.
No, I mean, I can try, but I don't.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult when you're not really have this visual mental image of what we're really talking about. I can mention all of these NPCs and areas and enemies, and you'll just don't really know what it all is. But that's fine. Like, yeah, just.
If I talk about Warhammer, you'll be like, "What?" It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, and then
for the most part,
Emperor Call
vaguely
Franz.
remember.
Yeah, he rode on the back of Deathclaw, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill the Greenskins," and then you're like, "What?"
But you had something else to talk about, like a new book.
I bought a new D&D book, and it isn't official. Oh my god! Edward owns non-official D&D content. I went to a local bookstore, and my girlfriend. Yeah, it isn't from a Kickstarter though, but I'll try to link it below. My girlfriend and I went to a bookstore, and it was like this upstairs area that I've never been to. She always goes there, and I followed her there, and there was like this little corner, just this one shelf, and it was just a bunch of D&D stuff, and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. So I looked through it, and I found this book. It's called Dungeons. It's made by the Dice Geeks, and it contains 51 dungeons for fantasy, tabletop, role-playing games, and more. 51 dungeons, 5 cities, 5 manors, 2 inns, all with descriptions and IDs for TTRPG sessions, plus bonus random tables for filling in details quickly. So this book is, first of all, amazing. It was written by Matt and Aaron Davids. It was edited by Aaron Davids, and the layout and design were done by Matt Davids, and the maps were done by Dyson Logos on dysonlogos.com, and the art was done by Daniel Commercy and Dean Spencer. So that's all the people who made this book. So inside the book there's a tabletop of contents, and it basically describes, okay, we got dungeons, manors, cities, and inns, and it has like this map key for all your maps to show you what's what. And what it does is really interesting. It provides you with a battle map on the right page, and on the left page it provides you with the story and how to run the dungeon. So for example, this one's called the Temple of Harloth, and on the right there's just this dungeon, it's on the coast, and then on the left I can read you a short bit from the lore. The cultists who worshipped some forgotten demon lord died out centuries ago. Their wicked temple sits dormant, beckoning traveling adventurers and tempting the greedy. The body of water can either be a sea or lake. Approaching by water is and then it goes into like how to run it and how to fit it into your world. So it's based on like water, or like the water's edge. So it says, okay, either be a lake or a sea. The terrain surrounding the temple is extremely mountainous. Arriving by water brings the 3 statues come into view. The flanking statues are 15 feet tall, blah blah blah. And then it just basically explains you can go through the dungeon even further. And it like gives you, okay, the first chamber contains nothing of value, but is decorated with foul images of long forgotten demons and evil gods. A large room to the south of the first chamber seems to have been a preparation chamber, and it goes on like that. And it has like 51 dungeons, as I said before, which is a lot. And for me, a dungeon master, and for me, a dungeon master who has trouble with making dungeons and doesn't really enjoy making dungeons, this is really a solution for a lot of my problems.
Right.
But there's also really, really like unique ones, like a robber baron and his tower is basically just a tower, but there's underground. There's this entire dungeon of like the robber baron's vault and stuff like that.
Okay, but can you change like the maps or the what each map contains slightly to fit your adventure better? Does it?
Yeah,
keep it versatile?
Yeah, it does. So there is like a story to each dungeon, but if you don't want to use that, that's fine too. You can also just use the battle map and make up an entirely new story. But the good thing is though, it comes with this random item in room generator with a lot of the dungeons. So for example, I've got the secret laboratory of Ravin, and then the garden, for example. I can roll d6, and 1 to 6 is like a vial of aloe vera, strange seed pods, gold-covered acorns, silver buds, or the alchemical lab. I can roll a d6 and get quicksilver, cyanide, potassium blocks. So it comes up with loot as well.
Yeah, that's quite useful.
For some dungeons, it comes up with creatures. And then we got the cities, and the cities are awesome as well. They give you a map, they give you some sort of basic background for the city that is like quite open, so you can just fit it in anywhere. I won't be using these, but for a dungeon master that quickly has to come up with something, these are perfect. There's 5 of them in here, I believe. Yeah, 5 cities. And each city comes with a random rolling table on businesses. So, for example, Kellen's Armory. Find weapons and armor sold by an enterprising young human. The Fox and Hound Inn. One of the finest inns in the city. It's often frequented by several barons and other nobles. And it comes with like stuff like random name generators for people in the city. Or items found on the beach. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's sometimes quite useful for a DM to just find or have something fully fleshed out just on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's plenty of books that describe on how to make a city or random roll tables for pretty much anything, but to really have something already made, that's quite unique and useful to have at hand as well. Doesn't come in too often, but when it does, you're sure to be happy to have something of that at hand.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, as I said before, like I'm a dungeon master that has trouble and doesn't really enjoy making dungeons and setting up encounters and stuff. I'm more of like a roleplay narrative sort of DM. I really enjoy when my players engage in RP and build connections with the world. Like, for example, if my players were to own a shop or something like that, I'd love to spend all my time devoted to that shop. So this is definitely a solution for that I could just pick up a random dungeon. I don't even have to use a story, I probably won't. But if they want to go anywhere, I can just pull out this map and let them play. By the way, each city has like their own unique random rolling table. So the city of Valladberg has random book titles because it's like a bookstore. There's a bookstore in town.
Interesting.
Bellerin has items you can find on the beach. Thorngrass has examples of unique businesses. Let's see. Argalen is like this military encampment that you also have written down. And yeah, there's that's the there's also that's the city part of the book. Then you have the inn part of the book, which is amazing as well. There's only 2 inns in here, but the general information they give you about inns is really useful. So it starts off with a random inn encounter table, which is a d20, and it's really these are really funny encounters. For example, there we go. Looking for a rough-looking dwarf jumps behind the bar and grabs the till, or a cook shouts, "I quit," and storms out, or fire breaks out in the common room. What a drunk father brags about his smoking hot fairy wife who gave him a daughter that can spin straw into gold. So that's just these funny encounters, and it also goes from like Goblin War Barty bursts in 1d12 goblins, or a character's chair breaks. So
so it can either
that's
be
quite
like
unique.
a major plot point, or it could just be something quirky that
something silly that
can
happens.
interact with.
Yeah.
It is sometimes quite dangerous to have random encounters, or at
yeah.
least
I only use random encounters if I don't have anything planned in the short term, and I want to spice up the game. Also, if, for example, I want the players, they're like super wounded, they just got to a tavern, and I roll a random encounter, I'm not gonna take the Goblin War Party one. That just doesn't make sense. I'll just roll again and pick the next one.
Yeah. But even if you would run that encounter, like it can spiral a campaign out of control.
True. If the players like go down and they have to we're captured by the goblins and they have to escape and
because it was a random encounter, you will have to improvise pretty much everything that comes after.
True. Yeah. So that's why I try to keep it to the more passive ones. Like this one is like, for example, it's very good to work into your story. As a character sits down, they notice a bundle of letters in the chair. It could be letters to the bad guy or letters to the character's family, and then they have to figure out who the sender is. And you can.
So there's a lot of variety.
So there's a wide variety in there. I have the random items sorry, let me rephrase that. Random items in an inn's kitchen. It's a D100 roll, and it goes from garlic to a secret door to the ceiling, and it goes from a lantern to a blue glass bottle with a strange symbol. So once again, it's super funny. It can either be a cheese wheel or something very, very different, an incriminating letter. So you can find those in there. That's cool.
Something bad or something good, and then the DM can decide if it's going to be helpful or it's an obstacle. Just add a little bit of flavor to the adventure, to the place that the players are in at that point.
Yeah, and then I have these two inns worked out. The one is called the Crown and the Sword, which is one of my personal favorites, and then the Sad Dragon Tavern. I'll start with the Crown and the Sword. First, it comes with a bit of backstory, then a D20 roll on rumors that the players can hear, a complete layout and map of the tavern, and a quote to add in some immersion. So the inn is called the Crown and the Sword, and it's a classy establishment known for its pro-royalty crowds. However, it does attract a fair number of adventurers as well. The hearth fire is always roaring, and the tables and the floors are clean. The food and the drinks may be a little rustic, but they are of good quality and fairly priced. The servers and the owners bustle about making sure everyone has exactly what they want. The characters can overhear a number of rumors being discussed. For example, an outlying farm was raided a few days ago. The farmer says it was goblins. Of course, that can't be. A drunken guardsman said an ancient scroll was found in the town square. Crazy old wizard Marilyn is offering 800 gold pieces for a book. Or there are stories of a giant red wolf attacking travelers within the last month. Pardon. That doesn't have to be true, but it's super interesting for your players to hear. Yeah. And then the quote is, "Good to see ya. Another round, barkeep. May the gods save the king. Madison Tranter, patron." It comes with this little quote. That was the Crown and Sword. And then I have the Sad Dragon Tavern. The Sad Dragon has been owned and operated by the Nile family for several generations. It serves common folk and is a bit grubby. However, the food is delicious and the drinks are strong, though say a touch on the expensive side. Currently, I think it's pronounced Niles, have about a dozen or more children that scurry about the tavern helping, goofing off or causing trouble. The common room is frequented by farmers and tradesmen, discussing the day's business and weather. However, adventurers and travelers often stop for a bite and a sip. The tavern is also home to a secret smuggling operation. Using the secret tunnels below the tavern, the Niles family has been moving contraband for decades. The characters can overhear rumors while visiting the tavern. And it's rumors connected to this smuggling, or it's just random rumors that doesn't have anything to do with it. For example, number 17. On a nearby mountaintop is a man who will give you a stone that will show you the future.
Right.
Either your players ignore it,
Yeah.
or your players remember it, or your players act on it. And if they act on it, it can be funny if you're in between plot points.
Yeah. Just a little side quest.
Yeah, and then there's like this map of the tavern, and there's a map of the entire smuggling operation below. So the players
pretty cool.
could be in town, contacted by the Lord, and he'll give them a mission to search this for this smuggling operation and bring them to justice. And the players will go to a tavern to discuss their findings. Little do they know, right beneath their feet there's a smuggling operation going on. So that's quite funny to run. And that was the book Dungeons, 51 Dungeons for Fantasy Tabletop Role-Playing Games and More by the Dice Geeks. And I'll put a link below for that book.
So it's really just roleplay and not like actual...
€30, by the way. €30.50.
Yeah, that's actually quite alright for a book of that size.
Yeah, for the content that it brings, it is, yeah.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask is, if I can remember... it's like purely roleplay, the book, and not like actual stats for stuff. Because that can be different in every RPG.
It's more so like a general RPG. Even though they do use gold pieces, it's more like just 800 coins, whatever the system may use. It is for fantasy tabletop, but they use general terms, as in if there are enemies listed in the dungeon, it'll be like very common enemies like a goblin or something like that. So Pathfinder, D&D, they all have goblins. So you can use this with D&D 5th edition. I would say even the older editions, Pathfinder, whatever. It all works. So definitely for me, it was definitely a buy when I saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That you can use those for different settings and systems. Just really an all-round useful tool to have at hand. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's and I got pre-painted miniatures for D&D as well. I got like this monster manual box, and it comes with 4 random painted miniatures. I got I got the gelatinous cube. Okay, which ones do you have?
If you remember, see if I have them. No, I don't have them with me here. I think I put them in my big D&D box.
The big box
with other miniatures. But I got like a cloud giant, and a couple of.
Really? It's
ones.
Awesome.
I think an ant warrior.
Oh, one of those things. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like a little fairy on like a translucent pack.
Okay, that's interesting.
That I can remember.
I got a warlock, then I got the ghost version of the warlock, I got a fairy dragon which is flying, and I have a gelatinous cube which can actually open, and you can put miniatures inside. So medium-sized miniatures fit inside the gelatinous cube.
Okay.
That's really interesting, I found.
That's always fun in miniatures, that interactivity. Yeah,
true. Those were the 4 minis I got, along with a bunch of stuff somebody printed for me. I bought some terrain boxes as well. So I have a lot of miniatures in my room now.
Now to use them.
And fantasy. Yeah, now to use them. I'm really looking forward to the campaign Convergence. The writing's been coming along quite well. I'm working through a map right now, like an interactive map on World Anvil that you guys will be able to look through, select locations, get lore about those locations.
Okay, cool.
So that's been a lot of work, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
And
you're putting in a lot of time and effort in this homebrew.
I am.
Yeah. I really do hope we get to play regularly.
Yeah, so do I.
It's quite a bummer if you can't.
Yeah, especially with all the work I'm doing, which might be foolish, but I don't know. I'm hopeful.
It's also just a hobby and
true.
A way to get better at fantasy writing and storytelling in general.
Yeah, and my work with Erandor is never done, so...
As is with every fantasy world.
Yep.
There's always more to tell.
True. Because you're making a world, the world is never finished. But,
no.
Yeah, no, one of the players who's playing with us the campaign actually bought his first set of dice today. Yay! Applaud for him. I hope he listens this far into the episode, because I know he does listen to the episodes.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's...
So custom dice, like that fit his character, or just...
Yeah, he did.
Set of dice?
He got a Elven Ranger set of dice. It was like green with...
green, obviously.
Green, obviously. With like these white, beautiful markings and elvish letters. I don't know how you describe elvish letters, like they were organic, almost. Art Nouveau.
Right.
I suppose that's a way to describe it. Which is actually kind of funny to completely stay with the rant here. So I saw this post and it was like on Instagram and it was like, anyone ever noticed that dwarves in fantasy are Art Deco and that elves in fantasy are Art Nouveau? I'm not sure if you completely know what I'm talking about, but I have the history of arts at my school, and like Art Nouveau is really like organic and flowing lines and stuff like that, which is very elven, of course, and Art Deco are really like hard lines and squares and stuff like that. And somebody compared like dwarven fantasy architecture with Art Deco, and then like Art Nouveau doors with elven doors, and I was like, oh, what the hell? That's kind of that's a thing. That's really interesting. I wonder if like Tolkien, when he first made the dwarves as like the stereotype we know them today, and the elves, if he was inspired by those two art styles.
I'm not sure, because he wrote, of course he described the architecture, but I don't think it really took form until film and TV took over.
No, I think he drew a lot of things. There was a book at the store where I was as well, where I bought the Dungeons book, which was like the drawings of Tolkien, because he drew a lot for his world as well.
Oh, right.
I didn't know, maybe. Actually. I just found it out as well.
Or it could just be inspired by like dwarven, quite Nordic characters, like runes and stuff. And if you look at the runes, they have all these hard edges as well.
Yeah, that's definitely an inspiration.
Yeah, so that could be a form, but no, it's definitely interesting. There might even be some articles, written research articles about this subject. If there isn't,
I bet there is.
Like, still interesting to explore as for like an art student, or even film or architecture student.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, or like a history student. But that's just something I saw that I wanted to quickly talk about.
No, I might have to look into that. Sounds quite like coincidental, or is it?
For me, it doesn't. I think Tolkien was like, okay, I need like a harsh folk who live in these strong mountains and they have these big halls, and okay, I need an art style, or like his architecture is based on an art style that has these harsh lines with these big squares and stuff. Well, the elves are gentle and and kind and flowing. I was like, oh, okay, Art Nouveau. There we go.
That's also possible. That's probably more likely, or the most likely for Tolkien to have chosen.
I mean, if I get my inspiration from music, it's not that weird for Tolkien to have gotten his inspiration from art styles throughout the world.
No, definitely not. Well, speaking of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, segues, woo!
Ooh, the best segues in this episode. It's incredible. Something else. This is probably old news for when you're listening to this podcast. But we just can't talk about this. Like, your name wouldn't be conniptions and my name wouldn't be cantrips if we didn't talk about this subject.
But our names are not cantrips or conniptions.
But who is Castle?
Shh, we don't talk about him.
We
He's
don't
locked in
talk
the
about
closet
Castle.
for a reason.
Yeah. No, it's the Lord of the Rings article where we got some new screenshots as well as the teaser trailer. This was released a few days after the article. And just before we get into discussions of the article itself, because we want to discuss the images that were shown, just want to say, after watching the teaser trailer, I am carefully optimistic.
Aren't we all, Evan? We are all carefully optimistic.
Yeah, first I was a bit skeptical. I was still looking forward to it, like as a fantasy fan. When you hear a new Lord of the Rings project, whatever it is, you get a bit giddy. But no, I was still a bit skeptical, but after seeing the trailer I have become slightly more optimistic.
Okay.
And after reading the article as well. It's quite a long article. I've got it in front of me right now. Do you do too?
Now I do.
Great. So, we will talk mainly about the images, but I've read the article as well. And what comes, what it really tells me personally, is that they are fully aware of the impact of Lord of the Rings and what they have gotten themselves into, the writers. So at least it's good to know. Well, they should know what they're doing with this project. But what also made me quite optimistic is that they really talk. That they also talk about what the show is and what it isn't going to be.
Yeah.
So to summarize the article very quickly, is if you're a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, it's not going to be as satisfying. Like the events that are in the show, in the actual lore of Lord of the Rings, or just the world of Middle Earth, is they spend thousands of years. And in this show they will condense many of these events to a more shorter time period to also have the same characters, like same recurring characters.
Okay.
Instead of having one character die off every episode, because they just die within 100 years, because nothing really suspenseful happens in that time. So they had to condense all the events to make it an interesting show. So for hardcore fans it's not as great, but for casual fantasy fans, they say it's like going to be the best thing, like that they want to watch. Like, you want to watch this as a fantasy fan, casual or just like normal, I guess, if you could call it that.
Normal. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of what I just said? Because you are quite the hardcore lore fan.
Yeah, I think lore is one of the most important things in any production, really, any fantasy production or science fiction, whatever. Because I have trouble really getting into a story if I know that the world is full of errors, or if I know the reasons for certain things are illogical. As well as this, I'm quite traditional in the sense that if there's an adaptation of something, I want that adaptation to be as close and as respectful as possible towards the source material. So I'm one of those guys like, no, you can't change anything. Because, I don't know, it just feels like Tolkien, this is literally his life's work, and for some big ass company to just make some quick bucks on it, that would mean, that'd be very, I don't know, unrespectful in my opinion. But that's not what that's not what I think it's going to be.
No.
I'm just saying that as in the general sense. I think it's going to be okay. It's going to be an alright show. Like you said, it's not really for the hardcore fan. But I'll still watch it. I definitely will.
Yeah,
so
and it can definitely still be enjoyable, and twists and turns that you didn't see coming. But as for the quick buck, I don't think that's what they really want to, because I think they were talking about 5 seasons already. That is going to cost like close to $1 billion. Like the first season alone is already almost $500 million. So you don't make this investment if you're just looking for a quick buck. Like, you invest so much, it needs to be so right, because if it isn't right, like that $500 million isn't going to pay off.
Yeah.
If it really is shit.
No, I agree. I'm just stating as in general, as a rule, I disapprove of companies or people in general who use source material and,
if they use it lavishly, like without care.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the short interviews that is, it's by the way, it's the Vanity Fair article. It's like all over the internet right now, so you can probably find it. But we leave a link in the description. But what I was going to say is, from the short interviews that the article mentions, like, they really do know the impact the Lord of the Rings had, even the books as well as the movies, and the responsibility that they have. But it's just good to see that they also have thought about the whole spectrum of fantasy fans and Lord of the Rings fans.
Yeah, it says here, I'm reading through the article right now. It says here that but Tolkien, like space travel, is a personal obsession for Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, which I did not know. I'll say that.
Maybe with a pinch of salt, because
I think so.
I don't know really how big of a fan he is. Like, who isn't a fan of the Lord of the Rings?
And it's quite easily said. Isn't like, okay, I'm a huge fan. Don't kill me when I mess up your show and your biggest.
Please don't ask me any difficult questions.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, but like, I watched the movies like 10 years ago.
The Hobbits are my favorite Middle-earth movies.
I was so excited when Aragorn landed on the moon and shot the Balrog in the balls with his Spas 12. And then Sauron came in on his live raft and crashed into Darth Vader, I think. Awesome. I love Star Trek.
May the Force be with you.
Yeah, may the rings be with you. Alright.
But anyway, the images.
Let's look at the images.
So the top one, where you see, like, they have a little caption, which is quite useful. Like, Galadriel comes up for air, like she's in the water. Not really tells you much, this image, right at the top. Yeah. So
she's taking a bath.
Okay, yeah, sure, whatever, it's alright. But the second image I actually really like.
Yeah. By the way, can I say something quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the casting was done quite well. I think she really
Um,
looks like a younger version of Galadriel.
Yeah. True.
That's just something that I noticed. I mean, obviously it isn't the original actress, but still, I think if it's like a younger, much younger
Yeah.
Galadriel, I think it's a good cast.
And the thing is, you really have to keep this balance between, do they look like the Galadriel that is described in the books?
Yeah, and
as
is
well
it a
as
proper actress?
yeah, precisely. So I can't remember the actress's name, but she's been in quite a lot of stuff.
Hold on, let me. The original Galadriel or this Galadriel?
No, this one.
It's Morfydd Clark.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I looked her up what other stuff she's been in. I think it's a lot of like horror stuff or like thriller.
Okay. Well, that probably means she can convey emotion.
Yeah, she does have experience.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot of like interesting projects that she's been in. But I just really like this image, like a younger Galadriel who is the caption of the image, commander of the northern armies, which is already like pretty cool. Like it gives me flashbacks to like this Game of Thrones character, this little girl who is this big like leader.
Huge empire, yeah.
Yeah. So also in the article at some point they talk about Galadriel, the character, the younger character, which mentions that everyone else thinks the evil is gone, like it's defeated or whatever.
Morgoth dead. Party time.
Except Galadriel, who is like, well, maybe we should hold off the celebrations because there's definitely some stuff going on still.
Elrond, don't do a keg stand yet. Sauron's coming back.
So she's definitely going to be this badass warrior character who is also really intelligent.
Yeah.
Which is what we would expect from Galadriel.
Of course, being a literal god.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, this episode will get a little bit longer because we had a lot of topics today, so that's why we're still recording.
Yeah.
Now what I'm seeing right now, I'm looking at the armor, the Northern Army screenshot. It's funny because, I can see that this is LARP armor. Like the image, the thickness of the armor, as well as the texture of it, and how it's fitted to her body. I can see that this is polyurethane armor. I don't think this is steel, but it's still good. Don't get me wrong. This is not negative or anyway. It's just something that I can see from looking at the picture
that's
here.
Something you would spot. Yeah, I think this is speculation of course, but for close-up scenes it probably will be more real or more actual metallic elements.
Yeah, I think it like less
scenes.
Yeah, in scenes where they move less than
yeah.
No, but like if that would all be steel, what she's wearing, including the chainmail and stuff, that would be extremely heavy. So I'm not sure if that actress would be like, yeah, let's do that.
I don't know. Maybe.
Also, the sword I can see is made of the same material. It looks like latex. The guard there, but it does look good. Like I wouldn't want to use the term untrained eye, but like someone who isn't familiar with that stuff, it does look real.
Yeah, and that's all they need. All we need. But yeah, she's quite pretty as well. So it's going to be quite nice to look at too. Moving on to the next.
What the fuck was that? Was that a remark? Okay.
So we got 3 images, like portrait shots of 3 characters.
Yeah.
A dwarf, Prince Durin IV. The dwarf and Princess Dissa. And a sylvan elf, Arondir.
Okay. A character has been created for this series, so it does not exist in the lore. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Like, of course, there were going to be original characters, like just these minor storylines, or at least relatable characters. That for this day and age then. But like the dwarf looks like a dwarf, like the way we would expect Middle Earth dwarf to look like.
I really like the makeup there. That's great. It's done very well.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else to really say about these images. Like, they look.
The costumes
really
look good.
The costumes look good. Like the architecture behind Princess Dissa.
Art
really
Deco.
Authentic. Yeah, and the costume set really fits this scene, like a bit greyish, but with like golden elements to really stand out. Just like in the background, you can see at like the top left, for instance. So really well done. And then really just a generic elf, but I really like his armor, by the way, like his chest piece.
Yeah, I do. It's cool. The wood, I think.
Yeah, like or at least like make it look like wood.
Oh god, this is a lovely. I'm reading this now. Their journey, after all, was not about confronting a new danger, but finally eradicating an ancient one, a scourge of malevolence that had tormented the land for eons. Tolkien dreamed up whole kingdoms, then collapsed them for background.
Yeah, which he really did for the Lord of the Rings.
Man be writing more lore than there is in the Bible, and then proceeding to say, nah, didn't happen.
Nah, don't need it. I've got something else. But it's still there. Like that's just brilliant. Like the most stuff you write or think about or imagine for your world just don't get used in a story perspective. It's really just background. And that just makes the world ever so immersive. So I hope they can capture that in the show too, because it's like a show, not a movie. They have a lot more time to explore all of these past kingdoms and history and characters.
Yeah, I'm looking through more of the images now. Those villages look lovely.
Which image?
I'd murder people to live there. The Bronwyn with her forbidden love, Arondir, in the village of Tirharad.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, really like old school European wooden shacks with wheat roofs.
Thatch roof.
Thatch roofs. That's the word I was looking for.
Do you imagine this is what the Hobbit village looks like during the day? Or is it just perpetual endless suffering over there in Finland?
You might be quite close, although it wouldn't be this green.
Yeah, that's true. It looks like a irradiated hell zone in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Like the Stalker games.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool village. Also, the image above it.
Elrond.
Is Elrond. Young Elrond. Again, looks like Hugo Weaving, but a younger version.
Yep, true.
So they did well with the casting, at least from an
aesthetic point of view.
Yeah, like how he looks, aesthetic, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what I'm thinking is like these are all actors that I've at least never heard of, so it could be interesting to see them, shine. True. Since it's not a face you can really put a character on. As in, if I see Viggo Mortensen, Aragorn. If I see Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan. That's kind of how that works in my brain.
That's so if I a really see, good point.
Yeah, if I see actors that I've never seen before, I'm not gonna think, oh, that's this character.
Exactly. So it's one they can really become the character instead of having to deal with previous characters they've played and people only recognizing those characters. And secondly, the casting can be done to really get the right actor for the job, and not just famous actors we already know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's a really good choice.
Yeah. Also, Elrond being a political character and not just a younger teenager. Again, really great. Like, just not really have all these teenager problems, which some of the other characters in the show are definitely going to have. I can imagine. But like more political in nature, like you like that stuff.
Oh my god, I do. I just read something, and it was one of my biggest worries, and it's just been relieved.
And that is?
So will there be a Westerosi levels of violence and redacted in Amazon's Middle-earth? In short, no. McKay says the goal was to make a show for everyone, for kids who are 11, 12 and 13, even though sometimes you might have to pull the blanket over their eyes if it's a little too scary.
Yeah, I read it too.
It does get very intense and quite political and sometimes quite sophisticated, but it's also heartwarming, life-affirming and optimistic. It's about friendship and it's about brotherhood and underdogs overcoming great darkness. Thank all the gods. I was so worried that it was just going to be, like it says here, Game of Thrones in the Second Age. Oh, thank whoever's up there.
Yeah.
Well, that was my biggest worry. That was the biggest thing I had.
Yeah,
like
you mentioned this, yeah. Yeah, so they, like I said, they definitely know what they're working with, and the vision that Tolkien had for his work and what it was about, really, to defeat evil, without all this unnecessary side stuff concerning, like just to appeal to the masses.
Yep.
So, like I said, I'm carefully optimistic.
Yeah, I'm actually getting more and more excited with everything I'm reading here. We'll finally see the full glory of Khazad-dûm, the carnivorous necropolis carved into the misty mountains where, in Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf famously bellowed at the Balrog, "You shall not pass." The show will explore that kingdom when it was still full of light, food and music. It'll also bring the elven-smith Celebrimbor, which is interesting, Celebrimbor, to life, as his skills with metal and magic lead to the forging of the rings, and a canny young elven architect and politician named Elrond will rise to prominence in the mystical capital of Lindon. Another storyline will follow a satyr named Isildur, years before he becomes a warrior and cuts the soul-corrupting ring off Sauron's hand, then falls victim to the powers itself.
Yeah, so characters we know as well. Some of them.
Is Isildur played by the same actor as the movies?
I doubt it.
Maxim Baldry. I'm just gonna quickly do a little search here.
Sure. But yeah, let's see. There was one other thing that I liked to mention.
I don't think it is.
That is still a bit of a worry. Well, it's not really a worry, it's just something that I would like to see. Because like the Lord of the Rings is really about old men going to war. And struggling with themselves and the war they're fighting, and for instance, Aragorn doesn't want to be king, but has to grow in this regard to take responsibility. Then there's of course Rohan, Theoden, who got corrupted and then has to struggle with his lands being pillaged and people dying. And then the Helm's Deep, of course, and then going immediately into the next war. So that's quite interesting. And then there's of course Denethor, who tries to keep a grip on the ever falling Gondor. So I really do hope that like the struggles of older men in these wars are going to play, or at least we're going to see on screen. because that to me is also what really brings, or what Lord of the Rings is about, of the struggles of older men in this world, and not just young optimistic hobbits going to Mount Doom.
Yeah, it's
or all these young characters that are exploring themselves as well as their friends and the world around them, but also
it's how the status quo reacts to a sudden change, and which people, how to explain this, who stand aside and who take action. And I agree with you there. It is like it's almost weird to say like older men who take up arms.
I'm not sure
I don't think
just more experienced men in this world that know this world, that know the people that live in them.
Yeah, those who have experienced the status quo for their entire life. But I don't think that's going to be a trend, given with like media progressive and god damn it, it's a difficult word.
Take your time.
Progressive. I can't speak today. I'm tired. I want to go bedtime. No, but how progressive the media is and what is being put out, I think Galadriel, they picked her for a reason as like the main character, sort of, as like a strong female counterpart to that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's refreshing to see the struggles of young people and the struggles of perhaps different genders in this world. Not that it really matters to me. I just want a good story. I don't care who the protagonist is. But also I do think, keeping with the trends that have been developing in recent years, I think the focus of the story might definitely shift towards more underdogs, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, like for Elrond and Galadriel, they might look young, but they're still like really experienced and old.
Yeah, true.
So.
But in a world where elves and dwarves basically own the continent, and humans are still monkeys eating from their own ass. I don't. If the entire world lives that long, then it's still young, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I suppose compared, relatively, of course, yeah. True. So, the one thing that the storyline that's going to be least interesting, at least to me what it seems right now, is like the forbidden love between the elf and the human. Like, of course we had Aragorn and Arwen, indeed. Like the forbidden love between a human and the elf, which was interesting. So it's probably going to be somewhat similar to Bronwyn and Arondir in the show. I'm not sure if you have the picture. Like
I do, in the village. Yeah.
Not sure like if it's going to be any really interesting, because it's a topic that has been explored before. Two people who fall in love, but culture-wise or family-wise can't really be together. Like it's been done before, like a lot. So I'm not sure how interesting it's going to be. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
Yeah, I am a sucker for like love stuff in the movies, and if it's executed well, of course, that's always a factor there. But I think it could be interesting to see these sort of side plots or different, the different plots developing and hopefully in the end all coming together.
Yeah, definitely following different characters and not just a standard view. It is definitely interesting, but I'm just saying like the least interesting or least exciting one. To me at least, as it seems right now. Like I'm not sure what they're really going to do. They might throw me a curveball and I'm actually going to really love this storyline. Like I do like her being a healer, Like maybe she's a bit more magical. In
Yeah,
nature.
maybe. But isn't magic like reserved for little gods in the universe?
Maybe not magic, but regarded as magical. Like
Yeah.
famously in history, like witches. Of course, there weren't witches, but everyone believed them to be. So it could be something similar here. Like a single mother, as the caption states, a single mother seen in her apothecary. Like it could be that many of these more stupid farmers will regard her as like this deity or this witch who can bring up concoctions to make them stronger or fall asleep or whatever.
Hoping they don't burn her at the stake.
Yeah.
That house looks nice.
The house looks cozy. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to have random herbs hanging from my ceiling. Damn you, 21st century. Damn you.
So we have been going for well over an hour, but...
Yeah, but we had a lot of topics today, so that's totally fine.
Yeah. Also, one more thing from the trailer, I'm not gonna pull it up, just going to mention one thing. There's like this split second of this huge battle in the rain, and it looks fucking amazing.
Okay, nice.
It's literally like half a second you see it, but it's all live action, actual shield to shield, sword to sword stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm really excited for the show now.
Thank you for showing me this teaser.
I have not even watched the teaser yet, but just what I'm seeing from the pictures and like the information in this article, if I am to believe it, of course, then it's gonna be amazing.
Of course, it's a bit biased because the people interviewed are in the show, or at least participate in the show, so of course they're going to say good stuff about it.
Yeah, and Big Daddy Jeff gonna explode them with their implanted chips. Of course, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, for the dozenth time, carefully optimistic. I'll have to see it a little bit more, really.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with Amazon's marketing team, like we will have no shortage of teasers and trailers, and even like just advertisements in the real world, like bus stops and stuff. I'm quite sure they're going to go full on, like Die Hard mode with advertisements, Amazon wise.
Of course. I mean, it's Amazon. They've got money plenty.
Yep, that we do know. Yeah, so maybe not the highest point to end an episode on, but definitely the most optimistic one.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, so for those of you playing Elden Ring, I hope to see you in the lands between, because I will probably be invading at some point.
He's coming for you. Subscriber is gonna invade you and steal your beat. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. And the episode, Evan. And the episode. Don't say it. No.
Don't say it. I'm going to end the episode now. Bye bye.
Beans. Bye.